once your brain believes something, it's only going to see the information to justify that belief. That's called confirmation bias. And if we allow that part of our brain, kind of the ancient survival technique part of the brain, drive us, we end up complaining about outcomes, thinking that they weren't the perfect outcome of the current system. Welcome to another episode of the Physician Growth Accelerator, a show where we break down your private medical practice system into vitals, give you the tools to diagnose root cause of what may be restricting your growth, and prescribe what to do about it. I'm your host, Zed Williamson, and I believe that everything we experience in business and our personal lives is the perfect outcome of our current system. Doesn't mean we have to like it. It's just the perfect one from what the system created. And when we understand that, when we wrap our heads around that idea, we can take a step back and design the system on purpose to generate the outcome we want. The reason why I'm so passionate about that is because what our brain wants to do is stay comfortable. And once your brain believes something, it's only going to see the information to justify that belief. That's called confirmation bias. And if we allow that part of our brain, kind of the ancient survival technique part of the brain, drive us, we end up complaining about outcomes, thinking that they weren't the perfect outcome of the current system. And that's the power in it. Now, I want to talk to you about marketing or advertising. And this can be anything, any effort that you spend or any money that you spend with the attempt to drive new patients into your practice or maybe a new service line to an existing patient. And before we go down that path specifically, I want you to imagine a patient comes in and they're complaining about not feeling right. And so let's say, I'm just going to pick a specialty. Let's say you are in urology. And so they book an appointment with a urologist and you're going through questions. Imagine if you ask them the question, does your elbow hurt? And they go, no, my elbow doesn't hurt. And so you go, well, I guess there's nothing wrong with them. That would be completely silly, right? But imagine if you asked the wrong question and then took action on the answer. Well, we do that a lot when it comes to marketing and advertising. And it's because our brain does not like the ambiguity that's related to what is quote unquote working or not. So let me paint a picture. You tell your staff, hey, we're starting this advertising program. I really want to know where our patients are coming from. So when you guys book a new appointment, please ask the patient, how did they hear about us? And that is the wrong question. The reason it's the wrong question is it's basically as effective as asking the urology patient if their elbow hurts. The way our brains are set up, a person, first of all, doesn't generally remember exactly what drove them to book the appointment. They also have a bias against, some personalities are biased against giving people feedback as what maybe drove or changed their behavior. They also have an assumption that the person asking a question has a belief about the answer, so they'll change their answer to support whatever they feel makes them comfortable based on the question. And finally, the way you ask the question generates a different answer. If you could rewind time and ask the same person these questions, you would get different answers. And that would be, how did you hear about us? Where did you see us? How did you find out about us? How did you first find out about us? You'd have 4 answers from the same person. And then what if we go take action on that answer? So paint a more specific picture. You start working with a company that's helping you with Google AdWords or search so that you come up when patients are searching, and you ask your staff and they are asking patients, and patients go, I found you on Google, and they're writing down Google. And then someone goes, I don't remember. Well, I found you on Google. And the problem is you might take this data and then go, holy moly, this is working so well. Let's triple, quadruple our budget because clearly people are finding us on Google. And so that effort that we're paying for is working. And it may not be. When we think about advertising and marketing, driving a behavior change in a patient, we have to think about the entire process as a system. Surprising, right? So imagine there's someone out there, they're dealing with something today. They're not taking action on that something, or they're taking what you might believe is the wrong action. So you're going to pay to put a message in front of that person, not to inform them, because informing people doesn't work. You're going to pay to put a message in front of that person to try to change their behavior. And before you do that, you need to understand what is the system that this person is a part of within your practice. What is the lifetime value of that new patient? How would you know that you got more of those patients? If you just advertise the existence of your practice, it's almost guaranteed to be a waste of money. If you pick a specific patient type, you know that they're dealing with symptom A, B, and C. And you know that it typically affects people's lives in 1, 2, and 3 ways. Now you can create messaging that is going to bypass all the filters that us humans have towards messaging, emotionally connect with the person, let them realize that you know what they're going through so they can start nodding their heads saying, okay, someone understands me. And then they can take action and they can book an appointment. And then you can look at the end of each month and run CPT codes and look at a graph and say, okay, here is the target that we went after through symptom and how it affects people's life. Here's how it would show up in the practice. Here's our measurement of that type of patient. Is it flat? Is it down? Is it going up? And how much is it going up compared to our investment? And that is how you can make advertising work. And when advertising works, it is unbelievable. If you haven't experienced it and you've talked to people who have, it's almost hard to believe how much of an impact it can have on a practice. And the reason is because you're reaching out into the world and you're connecting with somebody about something that frustrates them. They take action pretty quickly. And if you have chosen the right patient type, invested the right amount of money to generate that response, and have a way to measure how many more of those patients you have received, then it turns into an infinite wave for a surfer. Imagine if you were a surfer, you could be on an infinite wave. I guess it would be hard to eat and sleep, but you get the idea. It's all a system. And if you want to design it for success, those are the pieces. Lifetime value. What do they deal with? How does it impact their life? What are the CPT codes you could run in your data to understand if that patient if you're getting more of those patients or not? And now you know the true value of what is being brought to your practice on purpose. And just as a side, super tip, if a patient can't see you for 4 or 5, 6 weeks, don't spend money on advertising. No-show rate goes through the roof once you have a gap of a week or so. And so even if you like the type of patient, that you like the idea of advertising, if there's that much time between someone's response and the ability to see you, you're not going to get the return on investment. And if you ever have questions about any of the processes or systems within your practice, I'm a big believer in taking control of these things and creating the systems that drive you the result you are looking for. And you can visit physiciangrowthaccelerator.com. You can check your vitals. It might point you to what may be a place to start looking, and there's a lot of other resources there for you. And with that, we'll see you next week on the Physician Growth Accelerator.